Okay, so here we are in the same program as the previous two videos. I would just like to show you how to overload this even further by incorporating one more version of printchar that accepts two arguments or has two parameters. So let's get up here. Again, we start with the function declaration, and we'll go with void printchar. And let's say this one will, of course, accept a character, which will be the character that we want to print. And also, how about the number of times that that character will be printed? And that'll be in the form of an integer. Before these two previous versions of printchar, well, the first one just printed a single smiley face. There was no choice as far as the character. The second one printed a character, but just one. And now this one is going to print whatever character however many times. And maybe we'll let the user decide that. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll come down here and type the definition. Again, when you copy and paste, you need to get rid of that semicolon. Those don't belong at the end of the function definition. So let's see, we'll say char ch, and then int I for our parameter name. So now we have a parameterized function, another parameterized function in this program, but this one has two parameters. Okay, so let's see. We can simply maybe do a for loop. Start at count at 0. We'll go while count is less than I, whatever that is. So if I is 10, we'll get 10 characters. If I is 20, we'll get 20 characters, and so on. And then count plus plus. Whoops. Okay, and then we can simply do that. Okay, so there's our function definition. Now the last part is to call the function. After all, we went through all the trouble to set it up. So I'll go into main. You know what, I'll comment out these just to keep it simple. And why don't we let the user, how about this? We'll say char user char, and then I'm just setting up a character variable. This is the null character, meaning nothing, and then we'll do user int and set that to 0. Okay, so now I'll say to my user, enter a character and we'll put that in user char, and then I will prompt my user to enter the number of times to print the character, and that'll go into user int. Okay, and now finally we can, now that we have that information from the user, why don't we pass it to our function? So let's see, that's printchar. Okay, so look at the little sign popping up. Now we have 3 versions. It says 1 of 3. You get that when you have overloaded functions. So this is the one that we're going to use this time, the one that accepts the 2 arguments. So I will pass user char and then user int. And you know, this is important. Order matters. The way we set up the definition, the char comes first, or the character comes first, and the integer second. Don't reverse those when you're going to call the function. You'll get an error. It would probably let you run it with this, because I think characters and integers can be interchangeable. But in other instances, you probably would get an error. And besides, the function would behave completely differently even if it did let you run it. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so I'll just enter maybe a pound sign, and let's say I want 100 of those, and there they are.